Hello and welcome back to another episode of the English Hour. I'm your host, Sophia, and today, we're diving deep into a topic that's close to your ears literally. It's all about how to learn English while listening.
Hey Sophia, I love this topic already. Listening is one of the most underrated ways to learn English. It's passive, it's natural, and it works even when you're doing other things.
Exactly. You can listen while you walk, while you clean, even while you cook. It's so easy to integrate into daily life.
Right? And you start to notice patterns, common phrases, and new words without even trying too hard.
That's true. Jacob, do you remember how you started learning languages yourself?
Oh yes, I started learning Spanish by listening to music and podcasts. At first, I didn't understand much, but little by little, things started to click.
That's such a great way to start. Repetition is key, right?
Yes, repetition and context. When you hear the same words or expressions again and again in different situations, you start to understand how they're used.
So would you say listening is better than reading?
Not better, but different. Reading helps with spelling and grammar. Listening helps with pronunciation, rhythm, and real life usage.
I like how you put that. Listening gives us the music of a language.
Absolutely, and think about how babies learn. They listen first for months before they ever say a word.
That's a great point. Our brains are wired to learn language through listening.
So if you're learning English, listening to a podcast like the English Hour is a perfect step.
Thank you, Jacob. Yes. And we always try to keep our conversations natural, slow enough for learners, but still real.
And we use common expressions, idioms, phrasal verbs, things that real people say in real situations.
Exactly. And sometimes we repeat key ideas just to help the message really stick.
So let's give an example. What's a common phrase we can explain today?
How about, take it easy?
Oh yes, take it easy means relax, don't stress.
Like, if your friend is feeling overwhelmed, you can say, hey, take it easy.
Or if someone is angry, you can say it too. Whoa, take it easy.
That's perfect. And when learners hear this phrase in podcasts, TV shows, or movies, they start to recognize it.
That's the beauty of listening. You hear these expressions in action.
And you can copy the pronunciation too. It's not just the meaning, it's how it sounds.
Right? Like take it easy. Sounds like take it easy when said quickly.
That's a great example of connected speech.
Yeah. And connected speech is what makes English sound natural, but it also makes it hard to understand at first.
Exactly, learners often say, native speakers talk too fast.
But really, it's not about speed, it's about connection. Words link together.
So if you listen every day, your ears get used to that flow.
Yes, and podcasts are perfect because you can pause, rewind, and listen again.
I love that feature. When I was learning French, I would replay the same sentence 10 times.
Me too, I'd repeat the sentence out loud and try to match the accent.
That's called shadowing, right?
Yes, shadowing is when you listen to a sentence and repeat it immediately.
It helps with fluency, pronunciation, and even confidence.
Totally. Even if you make mistakes, you're training your mouth and ears.
That's something I always tell learners. Don't be afraid of making mistakes.
Exactly, mistakes are part of the process.
And when you're listening, you're absorbing the rhythm and structure of English.
You know what's funny? Sometimes learners understand more than they think,
That's true. They just don't realize it yet.
because even if you don't catch every word, you can still understand the message.
That's called listening for gist, getting the general idea.
Yes, and it's very useful in real life.
So let's give our listeners a tip. Don't worry about understanding 100%. Focus on the big picture.
Great tip. Over time, the details will become clearer.
And that's the magic of learning through listening.
Agreed. So let's talk about the best types of listening content for English learners.
Good idea. I'd say podcasts are number one.
Totally, then audiobooks?
And songs, especially if they're slow and clear.
Yes, but song lyrics can be tricky sometimes.
True, because they're more poetic, and sometimes grammatically weird.
Yeah, like, ain't no sunshine. That's not standard grammar.
But it's great for understanding how English is used creatively.
And for pronunciation practice too.
I love singing along to English songs. It helps with pronunciation and intonation.
And confidence, singing helps you speak more freely.
Absolutely. So, back to podcasts. What makes a good podcast for learners?
I think it needs to be slow, clear, and natural.
And also interesting, if you're bored, you won't listen.
Exactly. Topics that relate to your life, your dreams, your problems.
That's what we try to do here, keep things real and useful.
And that's why our listeners come back every week.
Thank you to all of you listening out there.
Yes, we appreciate you. Keep going, you're improving every day.
And don't forget, consistency is key.
Even 10 or 15 minutes a day makes a difference.
And if you listen while doing other tasks, it doesn't even feel like study time.
Like exercising, cleaning, commuting.
Or lying in bed at night.
I've even listened to podcasts while brushing my teeth.
Me too. Every minute counts when you're learning a language.
Especially when you enjoy it.
That's the secret, make it fun. And it won't feel like work.
Sophia, sometimes learners ask, how do I know if I'm improving just by listening?
That's such a good question. I think it's important to notice small wins.
Like understanding a sentence without subtitles for the first time.
Exactly. Or catching a new word and using it later in conversation.
Even recognizing a phrase in a movie that you heard on this podcast.
That feels so good, doesn't it? Like a secret code you've finally cracked.
Totally, and that's why I always tell learners to be patient.
Yes, improvement happens slowly, but it builds up like a snowball.
And eventually, you reach that point where listening feels effortless.
That's the dream. But until then, it's all about exposure and repetition.
Do you think learners should listen to the same episode more than once?
Definitely. The first time is for understanding the idea. The second time is for catching the details.
And maybe the third time is for pronunciation practice.
I love that. And sometimes, after a few weeks, you can listen again and see how much more you understand.
That's so motivating. You realize how far you've come.
And you didn't even sit down with a textbook, just your ears and curiosity.
It's like learning by osmosis, just absorbing language naturally.
Yes, like how kids learn. They just live in the language.
And that's why immersion works so well.
True. But even if you're not living in an English-speaking country, you can still create an English environment.
Podcasts, music, movies, YouTube videos.
Even changing your phone settings to English.
Oh, I did that once. It was confusing at first, but I learned so many new words.
Same here. I didn't know the word settings before I changed them.
Yeah, or notifications or storage. All that technical vocabulary.
So many learning opportunities in daily life.
Exactly. But let's go back to listening. What about accents? Should learners focus on just one?
That's a great topic. Some people prefer American English. Others like British.
But in real life, you'll hear so many different accents.
Right? And if you want to travel or work globally, it's helpful to understand a variety.
That's why I recommend listening to different speakers. Podcasts with hosts from different countries.
Like us, I have a more American accent, and yours has a slight British twist.
That's true. So our listeners get a little mix?
It's like ear training your brain. Starts to recognize different sounds and rhythms.
And you learn to focus on meaning, not just perfect pronunciation.
Yes, understanding is more important than sounding like a native.
100%. Some of the best English speakers I know have strong accents, but they're confident and clear.
That's the goal, communicate with confidence.
And listening helps build that confidence.
Because the more you hear English, the more natural it feels to speak it.
Speaking of which, should learners talk to themselves while listening?
Oh yes, it sounds funny, but it works.
I used to repeat sentences out loud when I heard something interesting.
That's a great way to practice pronunciation and intonation.
And it also helps you feel comfortable speaking English.
You can even pause the podcast and repeat after us.
Or answer our questions out loud.
Like this, what's your favorite way to practice English?
Say it now, even if you're alone, say it out loud.
Great job, that's how confidence begins.
I love that. Talking to yourself is underrated.
Yes, and no one will judge you. Just your walls and maybe your cat.
My dog used to look at me like, "Are you okay?"
Mine too. But hey, now you're fluent, right?
Thanks to those weird conversations with myself.
So here's another tip, create your own listening routine.
Yes. Maybe listen to a podcast while walking every morning.
Or right before bed, let English be the last thing you hear at night.
That way your brain keeps learning while you sleep.
You're planting seeds that grow over time.
I like that image. Language is like a garden, you have to water it every day.
With words, sentences, expressions.
And podcasts are the perfect watering can.
That's poetic, Jacob. Maybe we should write that on a t-shirt.
Water your brain with English.
I'd wear that.
Me too. Okay, how about a mini challenge for our listeners?
Ooh, I love challenges. What do you have in mind?
How about this? Listen to this episode 3 times.
Yes, first, just enjoy the conversation.
Second, write down 5 new words or phrases.
And third, shadow your favorite parts, repeat them out loud.
That's the triple listening method.
Love it, and it really works.
We're giving you the tools now, you just have to use them.
And remember, it's okay to go slow.
Language learning is not a race.
It's a journey, and you're already on the right path.
Because you're here listening with us.
Learning, growing, improving every minute.
And laughing too, hopefully.
Yes, fun is essential. If it's fun, you'll stick with it.
That's why we try to keep this podcast relaxed and friendly.
Like a real conversation between friends.
And you, listener, are part of our conversation.
So thank you for being here with us today.
We're proud of you. Keep going. You're doing amazing.
Jacob, you mentioned subtitles. That's a really interesting area to explore.
Yes, subtitles can be a double-edged sword, don't you think?
Totally. They can help, but if you depend on them too much, you're not really listening.
Exactly, it's like using training wheels. At first, they help you balance.
But eventually, you have to take them off to ride freely.
So maybe start with subtitles in your native language.
Then move to English subtitles.
And finally, try watching without any subtitles at all.
That progression is really helpful.
I remember the first time I watched a full episode of a series with no subtitles, it felt like a victory.
I know that feeling. You don't catch everything, but your brain works harder, and you learn faster.
It's like your brain becomes a language detective.
Searching for clues, intonation, body language, context.
And eventually things start to click.
Yeah. It's exciting when you recognize a phrase from something you heard before.
That's real progress, and it makes learning so satisfying.
I also love using songs to practice listening.
Me too, music is powerful. The rhythm and melody help you remember phrases.
And you can sing along to improve pronunciation.
I've learned entire expressions from pop songs.
Same here, and sometimes, songs introduce slang or idioms.
Right? Like, break the ice, or hit the road.
Or under the weather. Or bite the bullet.
Idioms can be tricky, but fun once you understand them.
Yeah, they make the language more colorful.
So if a listener hears an idiom on our podcast, what should they do?
Pause the episode, look it up, and then try using it in a sentence.
And write it down. Keeping a vocabulary journal is such a great habit.
Yes, it's like creating your own dictionary.
With words that are meaningful to you.
I always tell learners, don't just collect words, use them.
Absolutely. Practice makes progress.
Even saying a sentence in your head while walking down the street helps.
Like, I'm walking quickly because I'm late. Or, that dog is barking loudly.
Exactly. You're training your brain to think in English.
That's one of the biggest breakthroughs, thinking in English.
Yes, it reduces translation time and helps with fluency.
Do you remember the first time you thought in a new language?
I do. It was a small sentence. I'm hungry.
That's so cool. Mine was, where is the bus?
We start with survival thoughts.
Totally. But over time, they grow into full conversations in your mind.
That's when you know your listening practice is really paying off.
Because you've heard the patterns again and again.
Yes, language is full of patterns. And the more you hear them, the more natural they become.
So let's talk about some useful phrases people can listen for.
Good idea, like, you know what I mean.
Or, at the end of the day,
To be honest,
let me think.
that makes sense.
What do you mean by that?
Can you say that again?
All super useful for real conversations.
And these phrases appear in casual podcasts, like this one, all the time.
That's why listening to podcasts is so helpful.
You hear how native speakers actually talk.
With all the natural pauses, fillers, and rhythm.
like how we say or like, sometimes.
Or how we trail off a sentence when we're thinking,
That's part of fluency too, learning the real rhythm of the language.
and not worrying too much about being perfect.
Yes, perfection is not the goal, communication is.
So if you understand this episode even 50%, you're doing amazing.
And if you come back later and understand 70%, even better.
That's growth. That's learning.
So let's give our listeners another mini challenge.
Okay, how about this? Pick 5 phrases from today's episode.
Write them down.
Use them in your own example sentences.
Then say those sentences out loud.
Bonus points if you record yourself.
Yes, listening to yourself is a powerful tool.
You can hear your progress.
And work on your pronunciation and fluency.
Don't be shy. You're learning and growing
And we're here cheering you on every step of the way.
because we've been there too.
We know the challenges and the victories.
And we're excited for everything you're going to achieve.
So let's keep listening, learning, and laughing together.
Every word you hear brings you closer to fluency.
And we're just getting started. I was just thinking, sometimes learners feel nervous about listening to native speakers because they speak too fast.
That's such a common fear, and totally understandable.
But you know what's interesting? Our brains can handle fast speech, it just takes training.
Yeah, it's like lifting weights. You start light and build up strength.
Exactly. And podcasts are perfect for that, because you can slow the speed down if you need to.
That's right, most podcast apps let you play at 0.75x speed or even slower.
And once you get used to it, you can gradually increase to normal speed.
Or even challenge yourself with 1.25x speed if you're feeling brave.
I've done that with English news podcasts. At first, it felt overwhelming.
But over time, you start catching more and more.
Yes, your brain adapts. It's incredible.
And another tip, don't try to understand every single word.
That's key. Focus on the overall meaning, not the details.
Like if I say, I went to the store to grab some milk, but the line was insanely long, so I gave up.
You don't need to understand every word to get the main idea.
Exactly. You understand that I wanted milk and the line was too long.
That's enough to follow the story.
So let's try a quick game.
Ooh, I love games. What are we playing?
I'll say a short story, and our listeners will try to guess the main idea.
Perfect. Okay, go ahead.
All right? Yesterday, I woke up late, missed my train, and had to run all the way to work. I arrived 5 minutes before the big meeting started.
So, listeners, what's the main idea?
Don't worry if you missed some words. Just think about the overall situation.
The answer is Jacob had a rushed morning, but made it to the meeting on time.
Exactly, that's the main message.
See, you don't need every word, just the big picture.
And if you hear a word you don't know, don't panic.
Right. Just keep listening. Maybe the next sentence will explain it.
Or you can guess from context.
That's a superpower. Every learner has context clues.
Like if I say, the cat was shivering because it was drenched,
You might guess that drenched means very wet.
and you'd be right.
So every time you listen, you're building this instinct.
And eventually, it becomes second nature.
I also love listening to podcasts while doing other things.
Same like washing dishes or walking the dog.
It turns everyday moments into learning time.
And you don't feel like you're studying, it's just fun.
I always say, let English be part of your life, not just your study time.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Thanks. So, what's your favorite way to practice listening these days?
Honestly, I like listening to old episodes of storytelling podcasts.
Like the kind that tell fictional stories.
Exactly, it helps me understand dialogue, emotion, and pacing.
And it's entertaining too.
Totally. What about you?
I love listening to interviews. When two people are chatting, it feels natural.
Yeah, you get real conversation interruptions, laughter, emotion,
And sometimes disagreements too.
which teaches how to express opinions politely.
Like, I see your point, but I think.
Or, that's interesting. I have a different perspective.
These phrases are gold for real conversations.
Yes, and hearing them in context helps you remember them.
So let's practice some.
All right, I'll make a statement, and you politely disagree.
Let's do it.
I think watching movies is better than listening to podcasts for learning English.
That's an interesting point. but I believe podcasts are better for multitasking.
Nicely done, now your turn.
In my opinion, grammar should always come before speaking practice.
I understand where you're coming from, but I think speaking helps grammar become more natural.
Great response. Listeners, you can try too.
Pick a statement and respond to it out loud.
You're building real life communication skills.
And remember, mistakes are part of learning.
Don't aim for perfection. Aim for progress.
Let's do another mini challenge.
Yes, what's this one about?
I'll describe a situation, and you tell me what someone might say in English.
Love it, let's go.
Okay. Imagine this: you bump into someone accidentally on the street.
What could you say? Oh, I'm so sorry.
Or, excuse me,
Nice. How about this? You receive a gift from a friend.
you could say, wow, thank you so much, this is lovely.
Or, you didn't have to do this.
Perfect, one more, you're late to a meeting.
I apologize for being late. The traffic was crazy.
That's great.
These are the kinds of phrases listeners should collect
Yes, create your own phrase book.
and review it once a week.
Even 10 minutes of review helps a lot.
So listeners, grab a notebook. Your phrasebook begins today.
Call it My Everyday English.
I love that title.
And every time you hear something useful on this podcast, write it down.
Then try using it in real life or with your speaking partner.
You'll be amazed at how much you grow.
Jacob, you just mentioned speaking partners. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Great idea. Having a speaking partner is one of the most powerful ways to improve.
And it doesn't have to be a native speaker, right?
Absolutely not. You can learn a lot from someone who's also learning.
It's about practice, not perfection.
Exactly. If both people are committed, it becomes fun and motivating.
I used to do language exchanges online. Half the time in English, half in their language.
Yeah, language exchanges are awesome. Plus, you make friends from around the world.
And it's free. You don't need a paid tutor right away.
Speaking of speaking partners, shall we do a role play?
Ooh, yes. Let's do a conversation people can practice with.
Okay, here's the scene. You're a tourist checking into a hotel. I'm the receptionist.
Got it, ready when you are.
Good evening, welcome to Sunny Stay Hotel. How can I help you today?
Hi, I have a reservation under the name Sophia Hart.
Let me check. Yes, I see you're booking for 3 nights. Would you like a room with a city view or a garden view?
A garden view, please. It sounds more peaceful.
Perfect choice. Here's your key card. Your room is on the 2nd floor.
Thank you. What time is breakfast?
Breakfast is served from 7 to 10 a.m. in the dining room on the ground floor.
Great. Is there Wi-Fi in the room?
Yes, just connect to Sunny Stay West and use the password on your room card.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for your help.
My pleasure. Enjoy your stay.
That was fun.
And listeners can pause the episode, replay the lines, and practice with us.
You can even switch roles. Pretend you're the receptionist and say your lines.
Practicing dialogues helps you prepare for real-life situations.
Let's do another one. This time, ordering food at a restaurant.
Okay? I'm the waiter, and you're the customer.
Alright, here we go.
Good afternoon. Are you ready to order?
Yes, I'd like the grilled chicken salad, please.
Would you like anything to drink with that?
Just water with lemon, thank you.
Certainly. Anything for dessert?
I'll take a slice of cheesecake, please.
Excellent choice. Your order will be out shortly.
Thank you.
These little practice scenes are so useful.
Yes, and it trains your brain to respond automatically in English.
Repetition is key.
I like repeating lines out loud after a podcast.
Me too. It helps with pronunciation and memory.
And you start sounding more natural.
Speaking of pronunciation, let's share a quick tip.
Sure, how about word stress?
Oh, yes, English has strong and weak syllables.
Like in the word banana. We don't say ba, na, or ba, nena.
Right? It's be, na, na. The middle syllable is stressed.
Knowing where to put the stress can change everything.
Totally misplacing stress can confuse people.
What's another good example?
How about record?
Ooh, tricky one. It changes based on the part of speech.
As a noun, I bought a new record.
And as a verb, can you record this video?
See, same spelling, different stress, different meaning.
This is why listening carefully is so helpful.
Yes, your ears learn the rhythm naturally.
And you don't have to study phonetics, just keep listening.
Let's try a listening quiz.
Fun, what's the format?
I'll say 2 words. You guess which syllable is stressed.
Okay, let's do it.
Hotel.
Hum second syllable, hotel.
Correct. Next, table.
First syllable, table.
Nice. How about computer?
Pewter. Stress on the second.
You're on fire.
Listeners, try saying them out loud. Feel the stress in your voice.
And repeat until it feels natural.
Jacob, what do you think about accents? Should learners try to sound like native speakers?
Great question. I think clear communication is more important than having a perfect accent.
I agree. You can have an accent and still be fluent.
Totally. In fact, most native speakers have regional accents too,
True, I have a slight British accent,
and I've got a bit of a Canadian lilt.
so don't worry about sounding like someone else.
Just be clear and confident.
Confidence comes from practice, not perfection.
That's the golden rule.
I always say, fluency is the ability to keep going, not the ability to speak without errors.
I love that. Mistakes mean you're learning,
So, listeners, embrace your mistakes.
and celebrate your small wins.
Like understanding a full episode of this podcast,
Or using a new phrase in a conversation.
or even just noticing that you understand more than last month.
Progress is progress, no matter how small.
Let's add another fun practice idea. What about describing pictures or scenes out loud?
That's a great one. It builds vocabulary and improves fluency.
I sometimes open a travel photo online and describe everything I see in English.
Me too. Like, there's a mountain in the background, a river flowing through the valley, and tall pine trees all around.
Exactly, it helps you think in English.
It's like training your brain to create English sentences without translating.
And you can do it anywhere, even while waiting for a bus.
Just look around and describe the scene in your mind. There's a man reading a newspaper. A red car just passed by.
Or, a woman is walking her dog in the park.
And then you can ask yourself follow-up questions. What is she wearing? Where is she going?
This turns a simple moment into a full English speaking exercise.
Let's try it now. I'll describe a scene, and you guess what it is.
Ooh, sounds fun. Let's go.
Okay. I see a long table, lots of people sitting around, candles on the table, plates full of food, and everyone is smiling and talking.
That sounds like a family dinner, or maybe a holiday celebration.
Yes, a Thanksgiving dinner.
Nice. Okay, my turn. There's sand everywhere. Children are building something with buckets. Some people are lying on towels. And the sound of waves is in the background.
That has to be a beach scene.
Correct.
These small games train your brain to describe, guess, and think quickly in English.
And if you don't know a word, just try to explain it using other words.
Like, instead of saying telescope, you could say tool that helps you see stars.
That's the power of paraphrasing.
A very useful skill, especially in speaking exams.
And in real conversations too. Native speakers do it all the time.
Let's practice that. I'll say a word, and you try to explain it without using the word itself.
Okay, challenge accepted.
Fridge.
Hum? It's a machine that keeps food and drinks cold.
Next word. Airport.
It's the place where you go to catch a plane.
Great explanation. Now, umbrella.
You use it to protect yourself from rain.
Nice. This helps learners expand their vocabulary and boost speaking confidence.
And it's okay if you pause to think. That's part of the learning.
I also recommend writing short journal entries in English every day.
Yes, even 5 sentences a day helps.
Like, today I went to the market. I bought vegetables. The weather was hot. I saw my friend. We had coffee.
Simple, clear, and it builds writing skills.
And you can read it aloud to practice pronunciation.
You can also listen to yourself and spot mistakes.
That's a great self-learning method.
Jacob, what do you think about setting goals for English learning?
Oh, super important. Goals give you direction.
Like, I want to learn 10 new words a day. I'll listen to 30 minutes of English daily.
Exactly. Measurable goals keep you focused.
And they're more motivating than vague goals like, I want to speak better English.
Yeah. Better to say, I want to hold a 5-minute conversation by the end of this month.
Small, specific, and achievable.
And don't forget to reward yourself.
Right? Learning should be fun.
Maybe after a week of practicing, Treat yourself to something nice.
Like watching a movie in English with popcorn.
Yes, and speaking of movies, that's another great way to learn.
Watching with subtitles can be very powerful.
Start with subtitles in your language, then switch to English subtitles.
And then try without any subtitles at all.
Exactly. You'll be amazed at how much you understand.
One movie I always recommend for beginners is Finding Nemo.
Oh yes, clear pronunciation, simple dialogue, and it's fun.
And animations are great because they're made for everyone.
Plus, you can pause and repeat as much as you like.
I often write down new words I hear in movies.
Me too. And then use them in a sentence later.
Like if I learn, our adventure. I might write, I want to go on an adventure this summer.
That's how new words become part of your vocabulary.
Jacob, have you noticed how learning English can boost people's confidence in other areas too?
Yes, it's like a ripple effect.
Once someone starts speaking English, they feel braver in social situations.
They start applying for better jobs, joining international communities.
It opens so many doors.
That's why I always say English isn't just a language, it's a key.
Beautifully said. And podcasts like this can be the starting point.
Especially when learners listen every day.
We're proud of every listener who's made it this far.
Yes, you're doing an amazing job.
And remember, progress is not always visible day by day.
But one day you'll look back and see how far you've come.
Jacob, let's talk about storytelling. It's such a powerful way to learn English.
Absolutely. Stories help with listening structure and emotional connection.
And even better learners can create their own simple stories.
That's right. It doesn't have to be long or complex. Even a short story teaches you a lot.
Let's give an example. I'll start with a sentence, and you add the next one. We'll build a story together.
I love that. Let's go.
Okay, here's the beginning. One morning, Emma woke up late for school.
She jumped out of bed, brushed her teeth quickly, and ran downstairs.
Her mother was already waiting with her lunchbox in hand.
But Emma suddenly remembered there was no school today.
Haha, plot twist. It was Saturday, and she had woken up early by mistake.
She laughed, took her lunchbox anyway, and decided to have a picnic in the park.
That was so fun, and it shows how we can practice grammar, verbs, and imagination all in one.
Yes, and learners can do this alone too.
Just start with one sentence. Then ask yourself, what happens next?
And speak it aloud, that's important.
Or even record yourself and listen to your own story.
Exactly. You become your own teacher and storyteller.
You know what else works well? Shadowing.
Oh yes, shadowing is one of the most effective speaking practices.
For our listeners, shadowing means repeating what you hear immediately after hearing it.
Like listening to this podcast and trying to say the sentences right after us.
It's great for pronunciation, rhythm, and fluency.
And the best part? You don't need anyone else, just audio and your voice.
You can start with small parts. One sentence, then increase.
Like listen to me and repeat after me. Ready?
Ready.
English is a journey, not a destination.
English is a journey, not a destination.
Every step you take brings you closer to fluency.
Every step you take brings you closer to fluency.
See, that's shadowing.
And it's surprisingly powerful.
I used to shadow news anchors when I was learning.
Really? That's smart, clear and formal speech.
Yes. And it helped me improve my intonation a lot.
For learners, I'd say start with slow podcasts or children's shows.
Great advice. Then gradually move to faster material.
Another tip: record yourself doing the shadowing.
Then compare your voice with the original.
You'll notice where you need to improve.
And over time, you'll sound more and more natural.
That's the goal. Natural, confident English.
And you don't have to be perfect. Just consistent.
Exactly. Fluency is not about perfection, it's about communication.
And effort. Every minute you spend listening counts.
Every new word you learn brings you forward.
Every mistake you make teaches you something.
So don't be afraid to make mistakes.
They're signs that you're learning.
I once said, chicken, instead of kitchen, when I was younger.
How I once said, I'm boring, when I meant, I'm bored.
Classic, but those moments help us grow.
And they make great stories later on.
Speaking of stories, what about encouraging listeners to write a mini diary each day in English?
Oh, I love that idea. Even 3 lines a day makes a difference.
Something like, today I woke up early. I went for a walk. The weather was sunny.
Simple, true, and good practice.
You can write about your feelings too.
I felt happy because I finished a podcast in English today.
Or, I was nervous during my presentation, but I spoke well.
Expressing emotions in English helps you connect better with others.
It also helps you learn more natural vocabulary.
Like instead of saying, very happy, you could say, excited, or thrilled.
Or instead of, very sad, say upset, or disappointed.
Vocabulary upgrade.
And that's a fun game too, finding better words.
Yes. Let's play. I'll say a simple word, and you give me a stronger one.
Okay. Enormous.
Good.
Excellent. Terrible.
Happy.
Joyful.
Nice. These kinds of games help expand vocabulary quickly.
And you can do them alone, with a friend, or with a podcast like ours.
You can even keep a list of your upgraded words.
And try to use 1 or 2 each day in conversation.
Yes, that's how words become part of your daily English.
Another favorite activity of mine is question and answer practice.
Like asking yourself questions in English.
Exactly. You can pretend you're in a job interview, or just having a chat.
Let's do one now. I'll ask and you answer.
All right.
What's your favorite way to learn English?
Listening to podcasts like this while walking. It keeps my mind active.
What do you do when you don't understand something in English?
I pause, repeat it, and try to guess the meaning from context.
How often do you practice speaking?
At least 10 minutes a day. Even if it's just talking to myself.
Perfect. Now you ask me.
What motivates you to learn languages?
I love connecting with people around the world. It opens doors.
What's one English word you find beautiful?
Serendipity. It means finding something good by chance.
Oh, I love that one too. Jacob, let's jump into a role play. It's a great way for learners to hear real, life conversations.
Perfect idea. What situation should we start with?
Let's go with a classic ordering food at a restaurant.
Awesome. I'll be the waiter, and you'll be the customer.
Okay, let's begin.
Good evening, welcome to Sunny Cafe. May I take your order?
Yes, thank you. Could I see the menu, please?
Certainly. Here's the menu. Our special today is grilled salmon with vegetables.
That sounds delicious. I'll have the grilled salmon, please.
Would you like anything to drink with that?
Yes, I'd like a glass of orange juice.
Excellent choice. Anything else?
That will be all for now. Thank you.
All right. I'll be right back with your drink.
Thank you very much.
That's such a helpful practice for beginners.
It is. Learners can listen to that again and again, and even practice both roles.
Exactly. Now let's switch roles. You be the waiter.
Sure. Good evening, sir. Welcome to Sunny Cafe. Can I get you something to drink?
Yes, could I have a cup of coffee, please?
Of course. Do you already know what you'd like to eat?
I'm thinking about the grilled chicken. Is it spicy?
Not too spicy, but we can make it mild if you prefer.
That would be great. I'll take the grilled chicken with a side of rice.
Perfect. I'll place that order right away.
Thank you.
And just like that, learners can act out real, life scenes.
And it builds confidence before visiting a real restaurant.
Totally. Let's try another one. How about booking a hotel room?
Love it, you start this time.
Good afternoon, Blue Horizon Hotel. How may I help you?
Hello, I'd like to book a room for 2 nights, please.
Certainly. What dates will you be staying with us?
From May 25th to May 20th.
Great. Would you prefer a single or double room?
A double room, please.
All right. That'll be $120 per night. Can I have your name for the reservation?
Sure, my name is Jacob Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Your booking is confirmed.
Thank you so much.
These conversations are amazing listening practice.
And they teach more than just words, they teach situations.
Right. Context matters. It's how we learn naturally.
Also, learners can pause the podcast, repeat the lines, and change the names or items.
Yes, personalize it. Like instead of salmon, say pizza.
Or instead of a hotel, book a train ticket.
Speaking of that, let's do a train station role play.
All right, I'll start. Excuse me, where can I buy a ticket to London?
You can buy it at the counter over there, or use the ticket machine.
Thank you. And what time does the next train leave?
The next train to London departs at 3:45 p.m.
Is it a direct train or do I need to change?
It's direct. No need to change.
Perfect. And how long is the journey?
About 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Thank you for your help.
You're welcome. Have a safe journey.
Now I want to take a train somewhere.
Haha, me too. But really, these dialogues are gold for learners.
Should we make a list of situations learners should practice?
Yes, here are some good ones.
Number 1, ordering at a restaurant.
Number 2, booking a hotel.
Number 3, asking for directions.
Number 4, shopping for clothes.
Number 5, going to the doctor.
Number 6, making small talk with a stranger.
Number 7, job interviews.
Number 8, talking on the phone.
Number 9, visiting the bank.
Number 10, attending a class or workshop.
Learners can write mini conversations or act them out.
Or shadow our podcast and mimic our lines.
Exactly, and the more you do it, the better you become.
Confidence grows with repetition.
And eventually, speaking English becomes automatic.
Let's give them a small challenge.
Yes, how about this? Write a dialogue of 6 lines based on any situation.
Then read it aloud. Or better, record it on your phone.
And listen to yourself. Notice your pronunciation and fluency.
You'll be surprised how quickly you improve.
And don't worry about mistakes. Mistakes are signs of progress.
Exactly. Even native speakers make them.
All the time, we mix up words, forget things. It's normal.
So learners shouldn't feel shy or afraid.
Just keep practicing, keep listening, and keep speaking.
That's the English journey. And you're not alone, we're with you.
Let's dive into something fun and super useful: idioms.
Yes, idioms are a great way to sound more natural in English.
And they can be confusing at first because the meaning isn't always clear.
Exactly. For example, it's raining cats and dogs. Doesn't mean animals are falling from the sky.
It just means it's raining very heavily. A heavy downpour.
So if someone says, "Don't forget your umbrella, it's raining cats and dogs," you know it's serious rain.
Here's another one. Break a leg.
That's a good one. We say it to wish someone good luck, especially before a performance.
Like before going on stage or even taking a test. Break a leg.
And remember, it doesn't mean you should actually break a leg.
Definitely not. How about once in a blue moon?
That means something that happens very rarely. Like, I eat chocolate once in a blue moon.
What about the books?
That's a classic student idiom. It means to start studying seriously.
Like, I have exams tomorrow, I need to hit the books tonight.
Here's a fun one. Let the cat out of the bag.
Oh yes, that means to reveal a secret, often by accident.
For example, "Hey, let the cat out of the bag about the surprise party."
Great example. Idioms really spice up your speaking and writing.
They do. And learners can make flashcards to remember them.
Also, try using one idiom each day in a conversation or journal.
That way, it becomes part of your vocabulary naturally.
Now let's switch gears and talk about pronunciation.
Yes, one of the biggest hurdles for English learners.
A good tip is to focus on stressed syllables.
For example, in the word banana, the stress is on the second syllable ba, nene, na.
Many learners try to pronounce each syllable equally, but English has rhythm.
Right, some syllables are strong, others are weak.
Listening to native speakers helps a lot with this.
And shadowing, again, is a great technique for pronunciation.
Just listen, pause, and repeat exactly what you hear.
Copy the tone, the pitch, and the stress.
It's like singing along with a song, but with conversations.
Let's also talk about the sound. It's tricky.
Very tricky. Words like think and this use it.
For think. Your tongue should go between your teeth and you blow air the.
And for this, the sound is voiced, meaning your vocal cords vibrate.
Learners can practice with a mirror to see tongue placement.
That's a great idea. Say, think, thank, thumb. 3.
This, that, these, those.
With practice, it becomes natural.
It might feel strange at first, but don't give up.
Consistency is the secret weapon in language learning.
Now let's bring in some grammar hacks.
Yes, starting with articles a and the.
Many learners mix them up. So, and, an, are used for non-specific things.
Like cat or an apple.
Use an before a vowel sound: apple, orange, umbrella.
And before a consonant sound: car, book, dog.
The is used when we talk about something specific.
Like the sun, the car we bought, the book on the table.
Want a hack? If both speaker and listener know what you're talking about, use the.
That's such a clear way to remember it.
Another grammar tips the difference between do and make.
Oh yes, that one confuses a lot of learners.
Do is used for tasks, jobs, and general activities like do homework, do the dishes.
And make is for creating or producing something like make a cake, make a decision.
So it's do your best, but make an effort.
Yes, and it helps to learn these in phrases rather than rules.
That's a golden tip. Learn chunks of language.
Instead of learning the word decision, learn make a decision.
It's how native speakers think and talk.
Let's also talk about improving listening skills in general.
One technique is to listen to a podcast multiple times.
First time, just listen and enjoy. No pressure.
Second time, try to catch new words or phrases.
Third time, listen and write down what you hear.
Then, compare it with the transcript if there is one.
You'll start noticing how things are pronounced, what's dropped, what's linked.
For example, native speakers often say, gonna, instead of, going to.
Or wanna for want.
It's totally normal in casual English.
Learners shouldn't try to speak that way immediately, but they should understand it.
Yes, understanding is key.
And exposure is everything.
Just keep your ears open. Even watching TV or YouTube helps.
Cartoons, sitcoms, news, anything works as long as it's in English.
Try watching with subtitles first, then without.
You'll be amazed at how much you start picking up.
Language is like music. The more you listen, the better your ear gets.
And the better your ear, the easier it is to speak fluently.
We should also talk about cultural expressions.
Oh yes, expressions that don't always translate directly.
Like, spill the tea, which means to gossip or share juicy news.
Or hang in there, which means don't give up.
These expressions add flavor and emotion to your English.
And you learn them naturally by listening, like in this podcast.
That's the beauty of learning English while listening. It's alive.
It's real, and it prepares you for real conversations.
All right, Jacob. Should we continue with more expressions, or maybe jump into mock interviews next?
Oh, mock interviews sound like a brilliant idea. It's such a practical way to apply English in real-life situations.
Absolutely. Job interviews are one of the most common real-world uses for English, especially for learners aiming to work abroad.
Right. So let's do a mock interview. I'll be the interviewer, and you can be the candidate. Then we'll switch roles.
Sounds good. Let's start.
All right, here we go. Good morning. Thank you for coming in today. Could you please introduce yourself?
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity. My name is Sophia. I have a background in digital marketing and over 3 years of experience working with international clients. I'm passionate about communication, data analysis, and creative content development.
Excellent, great use of keywords. What would you say is your greatest strength?
I believe my greatest strength is adaptability. I've worked with diverse teams and handled fast-paced environments. I can quickly adjust to new tools and challenges.
Awesome answer. What about your greatest weakness?
That's a good question. I used to struggle with time management when working on multiple projects. However, I've started using task management tools like Trello and Google Calendar, and they've helped me stay organized and meet deadlines consistently.
Fantastic, that shows growth and a solution. Why do you want to work for our company?
I've followed your company's journey and admire your innovative approach to customer service. I want to be part of a team that's always pushing boundaries and delivering value.
That was a solid mock interview. Very professional responses. Now let's switch. I'll be the candidate and you can interview me.
Perfect. Good afternoon, Jacob. Thanks for taking the time today. Let's begin with an introduction.
Good afternoon and thank you for having me. My name is Jacob and I've worked in education and content development for the past 5 years. I enjoy helping people grow their communication skills and specialize in creating engaging learning experiences.
That's wonderful. What do you consider to be your top strength?
I'd say empathy. I connect well with people and understand their learning needs, which allows me to adapt my teaching style and make learning enjoyable.
Very good. And what's a weakness you've been working on?
Public speaking used to be intimidating for me, but I've taken presentation workshops and started volunteering for webinars. With practice, I've grown a lot more confident.
Nice. Why are you interested in joining our organization?
Your focus on accessible education really speaks to me. I admire how your programs blend creativity and technology, and I'd love to contribute to that mission.
I love how natural and confident your answers sound.
Thanks. That's something learners can practice on their own, too. Just record yourself answering interview questions.
Or practice with a friend or tutor and get feedback.
Definitely. Even speaking to a mirror helps.
Yes, mirror practice improves body language too.
Speaking of which, should we give some tips on body language for interviews?
Absolutely. First, eye contact is super important. Not staring, but being engaged.
And don't forget posture, sit up straight, shoulders relaxed.
Smile when appropriate. It shows confidence and warmth.
Also, avoid fidgeting. Things like tapping fingers or shaking your leg can be distracting.
Another tip, nodding occasionally shows you're listening and engaged.
It really does. Communication isn't just words, it's also expression, tone, and gesture.
That's why listening to podcasts can help you understand how things are said, not just what is said.
Exactly, tone of voice conveys meaning like excitement, curiosity, or concern.
And when you get used to hearing it, you naturally start using it yourself.
That's how fluency builds not just grammar rules, but rhythm, intonation, and confidence.
So true. And you don't need to rush. Fluency takes time.
It's okay to make mistakes. That's how we learn.
In fact, mistakes are progress in disguise.
Yes, if you're not making mistakes, you're probably not trying enough.
So don't be afraid to speak up even if it's not perfect.
Exactly, aim for communication, not perfection.
And with practice, accuracy will improve naturally.
The more you listen and speak, the better you get. It's that simple.
It really is. Learning English while listening, especially to real conversations like this, is one of the most powerful habits.
It's how babies learn, by listening first.
Yes, we don't give babies grammar books. They just listen and absorb.
So don't underestimate your ears. They're your secret weapon.
Thank you so much, Jacob, for sharing all these amazing tips and insights on learning English while listening.
My pleasure. Sophia, I hope our listeners found this helpful and feel inspired to keep practicing every day.
Remember, everyone, learning a language is a journey. Be patient, keep listening, keep speaking, and enjoy the process.
Absolutely. And don't forget to practice with mock interviews, everyday conversations, and by tuning into podcasts like this one.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to the English Hour for more great content.
We'll be back soon with more helpful discussions to support your English learning journey.
Until then, keep practicing and have a wonderful day.